I have good news and bad news. The bad news is that every single year, 1.4 million Americans are diagnosed with diabetes. While the good news is that there is a way we can prevent this number from going even higher. Happy Body Care Day, everyone, and welcome to the Body Care Guru channel. Today, we're going to go over why one of these diets is the best for managing type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes. Make sure to watch till the end so as to learn exactly what you can do right now to manage type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes. Many experts recommend a low carbohydrate diet for people who have type 2 diabetes or are at risk of developing it. This is just not so. Over the years, countless researchers have been able to prove that more than any other food, carbohydrates increases blood sugar level, and this increase in glucose can pose a significant danger to the well-being of any diabetic person. But there is little agreement on how low to go on carbohydrate consumption or which carbohydrate foods to include in one's diet. Very little research is available to help people make informed decisions. As a matter of fact, as of present, there's no single standard expert recommendation on how much carbohydrate a diabetic is to take. Americans get roughly half their daily calories from carbohydrates, and the majority of these carbohydrate calories come from added sugars and refined grains such as soda, candies, bagels, pastries, and pizza crust. Mind you, though all these may sound and taste sumptuous and delicious, they are all recipes for bringing the blood glucose level up. There's little wonder why 3.73 million Americans are diabetic. Contrary to many people's belief, diabetes can be cured, and one main ingredient that can aid in curing this disease is diet, or more specifically, low-carb diet. But before we move into what a low-carb diet really is and which one is best for a diabetic person to follow, let us enlighten ourselves on the two types of diabetes we're going to be focusing on in today's video: type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes. Most people with diabetes have the type 2 diabetes. It is the kind of diabetes that occurs when the body cannot produce or resists insulin. It's a health condition that is usually referred to as chronic because if not adequately managed or taken care of, it can damage several parts of the body. While in pre-diabetes, though the blood sugar is also high, it isn't high enough to be referred to as type 2 diabetes. However, if care is not taken in terms of lifestyle, dietary changes, amongst others, it's possible that pre-diabetes advances to the type 2 stage of diabetes in the future. This is why it's important that once you realize you have a condition like these, you need to start taking the necessary steps towards preventing any more complications. And for diabetes, one of the effective ways you can manage it is changing your diet to one that is low in carbohydrates, also known as a low-carb diet. Why a low-carb diet is good for diabetes. The primary issue in diabetes is the inability to control your blood glucose levels, and diet is a major contributor to that, as the kind of food you regularly take into your system, in other words, your diet, plays a huge role on your health. This is why for you to effectively manage a condition like prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, you have to go for a diet that will help relieve rather than aggravate this condition. And this diet is none other than the low-carb diet. The low-carb diet is a highly recommended diet for individuals with diabetes. This is because carbohydrates are known to be high in sugar, so foods low in them go a long way in helping to regulate the blood sugar level. But these low-carb diets are of different types. Keep watching the video and you'll find out the one that is best for individuals with pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, including why it's the best choice for these groups of people. In a new trial, researchers at Stanford Medicine have compared two very popular low-carb diets: the ketogenic diet and the Mediterranean diet. The researchers checked the effects of these two diets on the blood glucose levels, including the cardiometabolic risk factors, blood pressure and cholesterol, weight loss, and nutrition. They also examined how easily people could adhere to each diet. On one hand, we have the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet is a diet inspired by the eating habits of people who live near the Mediterranean Sea, including France, Greece, Spain, and Italy. Researchers noted that these people were exceptionally healthy and had a low risk of many chronic conditions. Although there are no strict rules or regulations for the diet, it typically encourages fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, and heart-healthy fats. In this kind of diet, processed foods, added sugar, and refined grains should be restricted. Numerous studies have now shown that the Mediterranean diet can promote weight loss and help prevent heart attacks, strokes, type 2 diabetes, and premature death. For this reason, the Mediterranean diet is often recommended for those looking to improve their health and protect their body system against chronic diseases. On the other hand, we have the super popularized ketogenic diet, or the keto diet for short. The ketogenic diet is a very low carb and high fat diet. It involves replacing carbohydrates with fat. This reduction in carbs puts your body into a metabolic state called ketosis. When this happens, your body becomes efficient at burning fat for energy. It also turns fat into ketones in the liver, which can supply energy for the brain. This way, rather than making use of sugar gotten from carbohydrates, the body uses these ketones as a source of energy. In the new study, researchers recruited adults with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes and split them into two groups. Each group ate either the ketogenic diet or the Mediterranean diet for 12 weeks each. After 12 weeks, the groups switched diets and tried the other diet for 12 weeks. This crossover design allowed participants to act as their own controls. When they were in the ketogenic diet phase, they were advised to limit carbs to 20 to 50 grams a day, about 80% less than usual. As for protein, the instruction was to consume 1.5 grams per kilo of their ideal body weight per day, while for fat consumption, they could consume as much as they wanted. This group was asked to consume at least 3 servings of non-starchy vegetables a day. Participants in the Mediterranean diet phase were told to eat mostly plant-based diets that included vegetables, legumes, fruits, whole grains, and nuts. They were also allowed to eat fish for animal protein and olive oil for fat. The main question was whether the keto diet offered additional health benefits from eliminating legumes, fruits, and whole grains, or it simply came down to eating more vegetables. Both groups were sent ready-to-eat food through the food delivery service methodology during the first 4 weeks of their respective diets. This approach was the best way to maximize adherence to the diets. For the remaining 8 weeks of their study, researchers asked participants to choose and prepare their own meals, giving them insight into how people realistically follow the diets. They were encouraged to be honest in reporting how well they followed the diets. At various points, researchers collected blood samples from the participants. This was so as to evaluate blood glucose control, lipid control, body weight, and other clinical measures. Throughout the study, participants were interviewed on their adherence to and satisfaction with the diets. Let us find out what were the key results from this study. The keto diet significantly increased bad cholesterol, which is also called the LDL cholesterol, by about 10%, while the Mediterranean diet did the opposite and decreased it by 5%. Now, here are the similarities in the outcomes of these two low-carb diets. Both diets improved blood glucose control. Both groups lost a similar amount of weight. Both diets reduced triglycerides. And while keto diet was reduced a bit more, this is not that powerful, as the keto diet raised the bad cholesterol level significantly. In nutrient levels, the ketogenic diet provided less fiber, thiamine, vitamins B6, C, D, and E, and phosphorus. Only vitamin B12 was higher on the ketogenic diet. Now, the last, and I think this is one of the most important insights for many of you, is that most people on the trail quit following the keto diet when it ended. So as someone with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, if you're wondering whether the best low-carb diet to follow is the Mediterranean diet or the keto diet, then I'm certain the result of this study has given you the answer you need. Bear in mind that we're not necessarily disputing the fact that the keto diet is also a really effective diet, but for a health condition like type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, then it's more advisable for you to go for the Mediterranean diet in order for you to adequately manage this condition. Now, for the sake of people who don't have much knowledge about the Mediterranean diet, here's some pieces of information to get familiarized with this diet. The Mediterranean diet ranked number 1 on the US News and World Report's list of the 40 best diets of 2022. Research has shown that followers of this diet have 52% less risk of developing type 2 diabetes. The main takeaway: cutting out legumes, fruits, and whole grains to achieve an ultra low-carb diet isn't worth it. People with diabetes or pre-diabetes can follow a Mediterranean diet instead, Just remember to monitor your B12 levels. The Mediterranean diet was as effective in controlling glucose and likely more sustainable for people with diabetes or prediabetes. Apart from diabetes, the Mediterranean diet can help stave off other chronic health conditions, such as cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, Alzheimer's disease, among others. Before you go, here's some tips that, when coupled with low-carb diet, can help prevent or manage diabetes. Start exercising if you haven't before. Quit smoking. Stay hydrated. Check your blood sugar level at regular intervals. Maintain a healthy weight. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos like this and much more. Check out this playlist of our top 10 videos of how you can have great and healthy life starting today, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.